Andrew here with Nashville Severe Weather with a predictable second round of coverage here live on YouTube Live. So we're covering a severe thunderstorm warning that is incoming for Davidson County. And that's going to be for the incoming storms off to our west. They are getting clipped up in the northern part of Davidson County with some pretty bad weather up there in the very, very top of Davidson County as well. So severe thunderstorm warning coming for Davidson County here in just a second, and we'll see that appear whenever it's issued. But for the time being, up in Bakers and Lutons and Ivy Point, there is a pretty strong storm going on up there that is, I'm watching on a different camera, one of our tower cams, and there is a lot of wind up there north of Gallatin right now. So let me go forward in time here. You see the cell here that's going to cause the warning here. This is for right around Beeman Park and the Fontenelle area in Joelton. This is the latest radar picture here from 1:49 p.m. And so big storm kind of got going here over northwest Nashville, and that has gotten its act together here in the past few minutes. And looks like this line's getting closer to us, back to our west. So got a couple of things going on here, a couple of cells to come through, and one of them is here in the northern part of Davidson County, and that's going to be under a severe thunderstorm warning here in just a moment from the Weather Service. So 1 inch hail possible there in this storm that's kind of gotten its act together just in the past few minutes. It's kind of launched off a boundary, actually. There's a boundary up there that has launched this storm up, and we can kind of see it here on radar a little bit. It runs kind of just north of Madison and down toward Bell's Bend, and this cell just kind of launched right off of it. And so pretty strong storm there, and could be dropping some hail, and could have some high winds with it as well. We'll see what they're going to particularly look at when they issue the warning here shortly. But definitely looks like it's a strong storm. So that's going to be moving east. That's going to be moving east toward Goodlettsville and Madison and over towards Sumner County here in a little bit. And then back to the west, we have a couple of other storms. One of them over here, they've had a warning on this for a while. This was over toward Ashland City and could have some strong winds with that. Very typical, sort of like what we had this morning up north of us. Could have this coming through here from Ashland City down to Kingston Springs. That'll be coming through Nashville. And so will this storm back around Charlotte and Dixon back there in Dixon County. And it has some hail with it as well, more than likely, and probably some strong winds with that. So that still has to come through as well. So we have a few storms here for the next, couple of hours that we're going to be looking at here in Davidson County at least, and maybe even parts of Williamson as well. All of these storms today can produce damaging straight-line winds, large hail, and potentially even tornadoes as well. We're going to be watching all of that very closely, very carefully as each and every storm comes through. All right, so each and every storm will have different characteristics, different threats, and we will be watching each and every one of them. So 1, 2, 3. We have about 3 of them lined up here to come through at least Davidson County over the next little bit. So one of them is in there now. Like I said, the next one's back around Ashland City, and the next one behind that is over in Dixon County. So the new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued, and it covers a lot of counties. So Davidson is one of many. Williamson's also included in this, and it'll pop up here in just a second. But we're looking at traditional radar on the left. We're looking at velocities over on the right. Both are very important today, and we'll be looking at a few other things as well. So let's go over and look at here, see if it shows that warning yet. It will very soon. It was just issued. There it is right there. So looking at it here on this radar, it covers a lot of counties. Davidson and then the northern half of Williamson County is included as well. And this is for 60-mile-per-hour winds mostly. And you may get some small hail in there, but 60-mile-per-hour winds. Possibly some nickel-size hail in there, which isn't considered severe, but could get some nickel-size hail out of that, and as well as the 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts today. So that's what we're looking at. new severe thunderstorm warning there for Davidson is for the complex coming in from the west. And so really any of these storms right here in Davidson County, including the one that just launched up that we were talking about just a second ago between Goulitsville and Joelton, moving into Goulitsville now on the west side. That one is capable of some hail, could have some strong winds with it as well. And same thing for each of these back to the west. All of these bear watching. See the orange or the green triangles rather here. You may barely be able to see that on your screen, but these are the cores of these storms. And so you count 3 big cores here, and you kind of see them in this view as well. There's 3 cores to these storms. So this is going to be areas where the strongest hail possibilities are, where the likely the strongest winds would be underneath that core in those storms. And that we'll be watching those as they move east. Let's back out just a little bit. This is the only line right now that has developed in Middle Tennessee as sort of a round 2 to what we had this morning. In about the 10 o'clock hour, we had sort of round 1 that just barely clipped us in northern Davidson County. That was kind of round 1 up there. This is sort of round 2 for most, for a lot of people. And then we're expecting even more late tonight. And we're just going to have to watch how each of these rounds evolve over the rest of the day and into tonight, because they'll all be a little different. We'll see them coming from the west, and we'll have some time to understand them a little bit better by the time they get here. So don't disconnect today. This is likely not the only round of severe weather we will get today. So you can really see these cores now. Let me go to this other view here. You got one up here in Sumner. You got one here in northern Davidson County around Ivy Point. And then you've got another one down here in Ashland City and another one down here in Dixon. And each of these are kind of marching east. So well-placed severe thunderstorm warning there that covers the areas those will be in. Let's talk about what to do here, and then we'll talk about reports. Both very important today. First of all, as this storm line comes in, you don't want to be outside. Please, I know everybody's got outdoor plans. Please be inside with this. Don't get under a pavilion or anything like that. If you're out at one of the parks, pavilions are bad ideas in storms like these. Bad ideas in any storm, really. But don't be caught under a pavilion. Get in a car if you were outside, away, if you're at a park or something like that. But get in a vehicle to protect yourself from lightning. But be sure you do it away from trees for sure, because if you get any wind damage in those trees or in that tree line, last place you want that tree coming down is on your vehicle that you're in. So stay away from the trees as you take shelter from the lightning or whatever it is you need to do in your particular situation. Just be sure you are away from trees. And then also, let's talk about reports just a second. We want to do what we always do and what you always do a great job of, and that is sending in what you're seeing outside. So radar's got a great idea of what's going on several hundred feet, a few thousand feet above the ground. But, hey, are you getting hail? Are you getting wind damage? Is there any flooding where you are? Send those things in using hashtag TSpotter on X, and we will get that report over to the Weather Service. Best way to do that, hey, if you could send us your location, a picture is great if you can do that safely. But we know you're not always able to do that, so put your safety first and give us a cross street, some way we can nail down the location of that and compare the hail to the size of a coin or some other object that is a fixed size object. That'd be great, and we'll get that to the Weather Service. All right, so the severe thunderstorm warning continues now until 3 o'clock. So that's the severe thunderstorm warning we are under is with us until 3, and we'll see how long that lasts. If it takes it an hour to get through here, we'll see about that. But right now it's motoring pretty good. Let's look at velocities here. It's kind of at a weird angle to the radar, so we can see a few areas of enhanced winds up here around Millersville, just crossed over Springfield Highway there. Some enhanced winds there around Millersville in the 50 to 60 mile per hour range. But again, that's at a really bad place in the radar, so it's hard to tell. I was watching a couple of other cameras. A lot of rain with these.
Andrew, I wanted to mention that we're seeing a ton of cloud-to-ground lightning strikes, more than we've seen in a while. Some of these are positive strikes. So if you're on the lake, it's time to put the boat in. If you're on the golf course, it's time to get off the course. This isn't going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those Caddyshack moments, frankly, where you really can't play. So your round is probably going to be over. You probably get some more golf in later today if the course dries out, but especially if you're in that yellow warning polygon that Andrew's got there, which is basically from Franklin across to Fairview, across to Nolensville and north. Your afternoon is about to suck. Let's get on inside.
Yep, for sure. All right, so those of you, this storm today, these rounds of storms have sort of been progressing a little bit further south each time they come through. That's important because there are places in Middle Tennessee that haven't had the storms today. If you're one of them or not. And the places that haven't had storms today tend to have a little bit more fuel available for the next round of storms. So the storms that we had this morning that skirted along the Highland Rim, Robertson County, Sumner County, maybe just a sliver of northern Davidson County. Those storms, they took fuel. They used fuel as they went through up there on the Highland Rim. But further south, that fuel wasn't used, and so these storms are feeding off the fuel a little bit further south. So as we go through the rest of the day, there'll be places like Franklin and to the south, and even up in Nashville as well, as the atmosphere recovers itself, that these storms will have fuel as they come through. So this isn't necessarily one of those days where a line of storms comes through and then there is no possible way we get any more storms the rest of the day. This is one of those days where the atmosphere is just able to recover itself, and there's just going to be areas where there's going to be fuel available and it's going to be used by the next round of storms. So that's why we keep watching for what's upstream of us, because there's always going to be that next line that comes through for the next several hours until we get into, I don't know, guys, maybe 12 hours from now.
Andrew, the latest HRRR has that line dropping in from the north and getting into Nashville between midnight and 1 a.m.
Okay.
The model isn't doing a good job of accounting for what this current line will do to our atmosphere. But if the southern extent of that line, which you look to the left of Franklin there on the map, if that pulls kind of closer into I-40, there's probably going to be some untapped fuel down in Williamson County overnight. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. 11 hours is plenty of time for it to recover. I will say, as long as nobody gets hurt with this line, this is good news for us, because otherwise there'd be way more instability and energy there for this next line to lift. So it looks like another late night for us, with at least another round of storms. How severe they'll be remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dog's freaking out. I'll mute myself.
I've got 3 in the house. We're keeping a dog this weekend, so we have a lot of that in the house too. Okay, so several of you have joined in the past little bit. Let's sort of recap where we are. Big picture, we have a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect now. There's a lot of polygons here, but for us, we covered Davidson and Williamson counties here in Middle Tennessee, and there's one warning. One of these polygons covers our counties. So there's one here, a big one here that covers a lot of area, and it covers Davidson County and the northern part of Williamson County, and that's until 3 o'clock, so about another 55 minutes now, and that covers down about the northern half of Williamson County and the northern parts of Franklin, all right? So pretty easy to know, basically, north of 96 or Murfreesboro Road, south of there, not included in the polygon, basically right there around Franklin, just as a rough idea. But but that's what this is. So we're watching a few different storms that could be severe. Let's go over to this radar to check that out. So we're watching a few different cores. One's up here in Sumner County. There's another one down here in Davidson County. Probably some hail coming down around, maybe a little bit of hail mixed in out there around Bells Bend. So a big core there, a big storm there in western Davidson County pushing east. And another core back here around Burns, out here in Dixon County, and even another one down here in Hickman County. So we have sort of this line of enhanced storms that have gotten their acts together. Even though there's a lot of red and yellow on here, there's particular areas of that could be a little stronger than others. And one of those is coming into western Davidson County now, over toward Bells Bend. So could be a little hail out there. Probably not large, not seeing anything overly impressive there out toward Bells Bend as far as what is actually falling through the radar beam there, but could be some hailstones out there around Bells Bend. That's heading for Nashville, downtown Nashville, so it'll come inside the Brawley Parkway loop here in the next few minutes, and then inside the interstate loop after that. So that'll be coming into into downtown Nashville here pretty shortly. And pretty much everybody in Davidson County is going to be a part of that at some point. So we talked about the HRRR just a minute ago. And one thing, if you're a weather nerd and you're out there looking at the different models for this afternoon, just keep in mind that you have to take into account, as David mentioned, you have to take into account the what's called the initialization of the radar. And so is the radar taking the current conditions, and is it ingesting the current conditions? I'm sorry?
The model, not the radar.
Oh, yeah, the model. The HRRR model is it ingesting the current conditions properly? And if it is, then you'll get some pretty good information out of it in the runs that it does. If it's not ingesting current conditions properly, it's hard to trust the rest of it. So it has to, what we call, initialize well. So if you're looking at that today, if you're looking at models like the HRRR and others, just look at hour 0 and hour 1. Just kind of make sure it looks like what's going on radar out there, just to make sure that it's initializing well. Now, HRRR hasn't done so hot today on some of this, so take it with a grain of salt as you plan the rest of your afternoon. And really, the day of, we're focused most on what's actually occurring on radar. So that's what we're doing here today, this afternoon. So a little bit of a tail down on this thing, down in nothing really to worry about right now, down here in Hickman County. People have been very astute to pick out the hooks on radar today. We've had some supercells out there, and you've been able to tell, hey, there's a hook on that thing. Is that bad? Yeah, I mean, it means there's some rotation in it. Doesn't not always mean tornado at all. But it's something we're watching for today. And so those of you watching it, notice just a little hook on that back end of the storm down there in Hickman County. We'll watch it. Doesn't mean that rotation that's in there causing that hook is down at the ground level. It's pretty messy right now, but we'll keep an eye on it. Still could be seeing some hail there in western Davidson County, and even now might be seeing just a little bit of evidence there right along Old Hickory Boulevard that goes from Scottsboro down to the river. Might be seeing a little bit of hail falling in there, making some noise on your house.
Andrew, I'm about to retweet a photo that looks scary, kind of like right along the shelf cloud.
Yes.
Where these little clouds kind of hang from the bottom of it. And those are scud clouds, meaning they're certainly not rotating, but they look like they can sometimes photograph like funnel clouds. They're not. I'll go ahead and tweet that out now. But I just want to assure people, a lot of times along the leading edge of these storms, you'll see a line of clouds that looks like a shelf. And then below them, there's more lift happening, and the cloud will form, it'll condense and look scary, but it's not. So, yeah, it can often be deceiving, right?
Definitely had a shelf cloud with this coming in. We were watching another camera up in Gallatin, a tower cam that we have up there actually, and as that storm came in up there, I mean the clouds got right on the level of the tower. I mean, they were low. Looked scary, but that in and of itself was not too concerning. But it sure was moving fast, and very classic shelf cloud out ahead of that storm just a minute ago up there. So we can expect the same down here. David's going to retweet that picture just to help us understand.
I'm crafting a tweet, and I'm just hearing my English teacher from middle school, and so I'm trying to make sure I dot all my I's and cross all my T's.
I get very self-conscious when tweeting. Probably for good reason. I need to work on my grammar.
Don't we all, Andrew?
We all, don't we all? Don't we all?
All right, here it is.
Who all do we have in the stream? There's Will. There's Graham. David.
Elin is working on the blog and waxing my Subaru.
It's gotten progressively darker in here. I have to flip the light on.
Nice. It does look dark in there, Graham. We can only see like the reflection on your glasses.
Yeah.
Is that a Gibson guitar hat? I guess it is. Yeah.
As I was watching the Gallatin camera earlier, the PTZ camera up there on the tower actually went into night vision mode a little bit earlier. That takes a good bit of darkness to trigger that one. That was pretty dark. So yeah, these are definitely tall storms. They're causing some darkness out there, but no, reason for over alarm with this. Just potential for some wind, straight line wind damage is possible. What did I do there? There we go. Straight line wind damage possible, possibly some hail with it as well. Got a report out there in, let's see, we got a report out in Dixon County, I think it was, of some like acorn-size hail out there in Dixon County earlier, and which makes sense. That's about right. And she said the garden did not like that, and I know that feeling. We lived in Texas, had our garden destroyed several times by hail out there. Doesn't take too large of hail to do that.
I saw some legitimate baseball sizers in Texas in a video. I think they fell yesterday, and I mean, I could not imagine what that's like. I think I would move.
Well, I'll tell you, we just quickly, when we lived down there, we moved into a new house there that had just been built. We didn't build it, but we were first owners, and I was asking the builder some questions, and I said, is this like a 30-year roof or what? He said, you must not be from around here. I said, I'm not, from Nashville. And he said, we don't talk like that down here. You'll probably have a new roof in about 5 years.
Yeah, 30-day roof.
Yeah, so it's, oof. Rough. All right, so severe thunderstorm warning continues here till 3. Another 45 minutes on it. The winds are, best we can tell, could potentially be strong, probably in sort of pockets. All right, so it's probably not a widespread wind event, but it's hard to tell because it's at a really bad angle to the radar right now. So it's a little hard to tell exactly what's going on. We saw this happen in Williamson County a little bit yesterday, and it was a little tough in the morning to see how strong the winds were. Ended up having a few trees down there in Williamson County off of Wilson Pike yesterday morning, and it was tough to see that on radar just because it was at a really bad angle. Same thing today. We don't have TB&A to help us out today. TB&A is down for the day, and so it's a little tough to see exactly how strong the winds are for these winds that are blowing straight toward TB&A. We don't have it. So we sort of have to interpolate here. Could be some strong winds around Millersville and Hendersonville and Bells Bend, Kingston Springs, Burns, but they could be a little stronger than what we see here on radar. We just don't know. So it's especially important that we have reports today. Hashtag T-Spotter on X. So if you have trees coming down in West Meade, that would be really good information to have, or wherever it is, just as we try to figure out exactly what's going on underneath these storms today. Yep, still watching that little hook back there in Hickman County. That's about as messy as it comes. Nothing crazy.
Good messy, not bad messy.
Yeah, good messy. Not organized, we should say it that way. It doesn't look organized there in northern Hickman County, but we'll keep an eye on it.
That boundary is now south of Nashville, going into Cane Ridge between Brentwood and Franklin. And what's been happening is the storms have been forming between the main line and the boundary there, right in that area that Andrews. See that little dashed area between Lakewood Village to Brentwood? That's the boundary. And so as the storms kind of move east from Bellevue into Oak Hill, additional storms are starting to form out ahead of it and then be ultimately swallowed up by the line itself. And when that happens is when we're seeing the most frequent lightning strikes. And that's certainly true going on right now in downtown, North Nashville, over by TSU, up near Germantown, and then over in East Nashville. I mean, I count 3 dozen cloud to ground lightning strikes in the last 5 minutes. That's a ton of strikes. Not quite Garth Brooks concert level frequency strike, but pretty high up there. And if you're under one of them, you're going to wish you're inside. So if you're on the course in Southeast Nashville, if you're on Percy Priest Lake, you're almost out of time to get off the lake. You definitely want to be off the lake because of the winds. And now we have a new severe thunderstorm warning, Andrew, for that intense cell over kind of by where the hook was. If you want to talk about that.
Okay. Yep. New severe thunderstorm warning here for this cell over in Hickman County. Yep, that we were just talking about. So it's kind of gotten its act together a little bit. Could have some hail with it. It's riding that boundary that we were just talking about. It's riding that boundary that that's running currently through Brentwood, Antioch, and down through western Williamson County. And that cell is going to be pushing off to the northeast and is going to be heading into Nashville. Might be just a little, that looks like a pretty good track as far as where it thinks it's headed. So Pegram, Nashville, downtown Nashville, maybe just south of downtown toward Oak Hill and Brentwood. But that cell is headed that way. So new severe thunderstorm warning for Williamson County and Davidson County. And this new one is in effect until 3 o'clock. So both of them are in effect until 3 o'clock now, both of the warnings that we are under. And this is for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and possibly some quarter-size hail.
Andrew, seen a lot of questions, people seeing that. You mentioned earlier, folks are astute, seeing something that looks like a hook or something that's, that looks like red and green. Can we talk a little bit about the importance of collocating perceived rotation on velocity scans with reflectivity and why exactly it looks that way? Because
sure,
that structure is causing some concern for Twitter this afternoon.
I gotcha. So let me first address what we call collocating. Collocating means that you take different radar products and you sort of kind of lay them on top of each other and make sure that things that you're looking for in for example, a tornado, which there's not one currently, but that you want to make sure that those things that you're looking for match up on radar where they're supposed to be. to have a tornado. Okay, so let's take this cell over here that we just had a severe thunderstorm warning for over in Hitman County. All right, hey, it's got a hook. Yikes! Is that bad? That we can immediately tell there might be some mid-level rotation in that because of a hook. All right, so we look at that. Well, if you notice on my radar, I've got a red dot that always stays in the middle. See, as I move that around, who was that?
Sorry.
That's all right. Stormwatch Plus works,
bro.
Stormwatch Plus works. But that red dot is always in the middle. So I've got velocities, and I've got, I can have lots of different products up here. So as I zoom in on that hook, I'm looking at some different products, and I want to make sure that if there is any rotation there on velocities up here, that it's in the same spot that I might be seeing debris on down here or right here where the hook is in the storm. So if these things aren't all in the same place, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense as to how the storm is structured, and there's, very little to worry about with that. So that's what we mean by co-locating. So right here we have, a classic, kind of a little mini supercell there, but the potential there is for looks to be some hail and maybe some 60-mile-per-hour winds. So we see some reds, we see some greens, but they're faint, and they're not really where we would think to see them with heavy rotation. If the rotation were to pick up with this cell, it would be right here. We would see strong greens right here, strong greens and blues here, and we would see more reds right here. I'm not concerned about this stuff out here at all. We would be looking right there. We need some more reds and some bright blues or greens. And that's when we start looking for other stuff. So right now it looks like a hailer to me, and maybe some strong gusty winds. So if that addresses a little bit the reds or the greens, the co-location, stuff like that. That's what we're watching. Looks like the cell in Davidson County. Looks like some of the reds, and yeah, that definitely looks like it's weaker up there. Well, hold on. Caveat. The radar dome itself is getting a ton of rain right now. So
yeah,
it could be a little bit of what
down from Hopkinsville on that, Andrew.
Yeah, could be what we call attenuation. So radar beam could have a little bit of trouble shooting through all of that water that it's shooting through at close range right now. And so it could make things appear to be weaker out there. So not ready quite yet to call this a weaker storm here in western Davidson County, but it appears to be on radar, but that could just be because the radar's getting just car washed right now up there in Old Hickory.
Yeah, so
we'll give that a little bit.
Reflectivity returns are a bit more intense using the Hopkinsville radar, but that's possibly a product of elevation differences.
Yeah, you're looking higher in the storm and all that.
Bit, yeah.
All right, so again, 2 severe thunderstorm warnings here in Nashville and in Williamson County. Both of them expire at 3. So we have another 35 minutes on those. I've got 224, so about another 35, 36 minutes on these. And so one of them is up here in, most of Davidson County. And Will, if you would kind of be thumbing through reports a little bit and see if we've got anything to look at. But this storm down here in Williamson County is also, this could be a hailer, is kind of what it looks like to me. It's not it's got a pretty good core to it. It's not crazy strong, but it could grow. It's right along that boundary we were talking about. So it wouldn't be impossible to see this storm grow down here and put down some decent hail there in western Williamson County, southwestern Davidson County. We'll just have to see. So have we gotten anything in Davidson County worth reporting, or is this thing staying below severe limits as far as reports go at least?
Great question. Everything is, say, below severe limits report-wise. The most significant reports have been pea-size hail up in Whites Creek. Some pea-size hail reports outside of the county. Nothing greater than that. Still looking for, as this thing sweeps through, potential, I think we're still under, David, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we're still under a flash flood watch, right? So still looking for reports for that. Looking for reports for damage to structures, hail larger than a quarter, all things that you can send to us using T-Spotter, and we'll get it over to the Weather Service. I mentioned in a tweet earlier today that those reports help everybody, right? Because if we know what the storm is doing in your neighborhood now, then we can predict what's going to happen downstream as this complex moves east.
It does look like, to me, I'm on the Hopkinsville radar now, it does look like the reflectivity here in western Davidson County sort of matches what we were seeing from the Old Hickory radar. So it looks like that has come down a pretty good piece. That's good news. We still have like 3 different cores we're watching in the storm. One of them's here over northeastern Davidson County around Inglewood and over toward the Opryland area. And the other one's over here toward Kingston Springs. That's going to keep pushing east as well into the metro area. And then we got this cell down here that has its own very special own severe thunderstorm warning with it down here south of Dixon. And this is the one that looks scary on radar. We're going to keep an eye on it. That's the one north of Centerville, between Centerville and Dixon, moving our direction. And it looks scary on radar just because of the shape of it. Could have some hail with it for sure, and maybe some gusty winds. Rotation is, it's worth watching, but not seeing anything on it right now that is particularly concerning. So we're just going to kind of let that one ride over the next little bit. But it does look like western Davidson County has sort of seen its reflectivities come down, or the rain rates there in the intensities there in northwestern Davidson County. So that's good news.
New flood watch just flood advisory got updated until 5:30 p.m. Central now.
Okay, so that's a flood advisory. So that means that Davidson County's had a lot of rain come through. Let me get up to Nashville on this radar, and this will show us flood advisories when they're issued. So what we have here, we have flood advisories that have been issued back to our west and to our north, and that's because they've gotten a lot of rain. Keep in mind, they've had a couple of rounds of heavy rain and storms up there, and there's your new flood advisory here, okay? So you see this green, could be a little hard to see, I know, this green polygon here from Cheatham County, goes through Bellevue, South Nashville, all the way up into Wilson County. So pretty much everybody north of Oak Hill and Bellevue and Antioch under a flood advisory now, and that's going to be for that's going to be for flooding, minor flooding, and low-lying poor drainage areas there. And so, as we say, turn around, don't drown. That's in effect till 5:30. A flood advisory for Davidson County there. All right, so that is that's a new flood advisory there. We still have our other 2 severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect for another 30 minutes. So let's go back to our other radars here and take a look at that. Nothing particularly concerning there velocity-wise. Really, in either county, even as that shelf cloud moved through, still could have some gusty winds there. But I'm optimistic here. Maybe, what am I doing? Looking at 2 velocities. There we go. I'm optimistic that maybe we haven't had a lot of wind damage in Davidson County as that came through.
That is correct.
And
so far, haven't seen any trees, power lines down. So that's all really good news.
That's really good news.
I'm also not getting any reports really on Instagram or anything at the moment.
Cool. All right. Well, good news. Okay, so far so good. Let's keep
that Wrigley storm is again prompting people to discuss tornado rotation signature.
Sure.
In our Twitter replies.
Yep.
Andrew, you want to talk about the radar artifact at that beam height?
Yeah, we've got right around in this is just one of those things we know that you learn living here long enough. There is what we call it a radar artifact right here around Wrigley. we can often see some erroneous velocity signatures there, and really all the way through Hickman County. And it actually has to do with the way that the radar beam interacts with all the glass and is reflected downtown. And it causes sometimes, so it's hitting the radar beam is hitting the rain up here in Trousdale County. But the radar is pointed this way when it sees that, because it's interacting with all the downtown buildings. And so we can get these weird velocity signatures down here in northeastern Hickman County and kind of going this way. So we see that happen when we get a lot of rain on both sides of the radar here, like we do right now. So we've been around long enough. We know what that is, and we're not concerned whatsoever about this yellow and red here around Wrigley. So I hope that helps a little bit with that. Now, as far as the hook out there, still not very concerned about it. The rotation, quote unquote, is very weak at the surface. And if we go up in the atmosphere, you can see, all right, you can sort of see here as we go up in the atmosphere, your rotation's a little bit stronger in the mid-levels. That's not a problem at the ground level. But up here in the mid-levels, that'll keep your hail sizes up. That will tend to strengthen the storm a little bit, but there is rotation in the mid-levels. Right here, we're at about 23,000 feet, all right? So that's mid-upper levels of the storm, and yeah, a little bit of rotation there. But that's up in the storm, and that just helps kind of fuel the storm as it goes along and can increase those hail sizes. And that's exactly what we've got here. Hail sizes appear to be coming up there around Wrigley all the way up to Burns. Probably, in fact, we got a pretty good hail signature actually right there around just west of Highway 46 between Dixon and Bon Aqua. So decent hail signature there, right there along the Dixon-Hickman County line. But as far as rotation at the surface, I'm not seeing anything concerning there at the moment. All right, so that's going to be pushing to the northeast. Let's put this in motion just a little bit. Let me go back to just traditional radar, put it in motion here and sort of step it through time, and it sort of is pushing to the east. It's sort of turning right a little bit, more going due east at the moment. And again, don't worry about the radar's picking up this little tornado icon here. The radar's picking that up because it's also interacting with this really, like we said, this really erroneous radar information here. We just kind of know that that's there, but the radar program itself doesn't know about that little issue. So it's flagging that there might be rotation there. That's not the case. So yeah, it looks like this will be more of a Fairview. Fairview, I'd get ready for a little hailstorm, and this looks like actually a pretty decent hailer. This is going to be right there around Bon Aqua right now, right around Highway 100, Highway 46 intersection there, approaching 840, and right there where you see these purples, that's going to be a decent hailer if it comes right over you. So that looks like right there around Fairview and maybe just to the south of Fairview, maybe the south parts of town. So the areas around Diane Drive and Cumberland Drive in particular, right around in there in Highway 100 off of 840. Those look like the areas that could get some pretty decent hail over the next little bit. So hail size is coming up in that storm. The rest of the storm back over here appears to sort of be trending down, and that's good news. We're starting to see it break up a little bit. You don't see the reds and the yellows. You start to see some blues in here. That's good. That's some light rain. So starting to see the organization of this storm up here in Davidson County come down a little bit, really quite a lot. And hopefully that will continue. But that's a trend happening now, and the Weather Service is starting to trim that huge severe thunderstorm warning back a little bit. And so now there's an all clear for this round up in northern Davidson County. More rounds to come, we think, late tonight, late this afternoon, late tonight. But this round in particular, this line, all clear for northern Davidson County there. Yeah, still thinking this is going to be a pretty big hailer for some people. Not everybody, but some people there in western Williamson County, right there around Cumberland Drive, all the way down to 840, and coming into Fairview here in a little bit. And I would expect at least quarter size in there. Some of you astute radar folks might also think that this is what we call a 3-body scatter spike in radar, meaning this is, if you hear the term, this is a hail spike on radar. This actually
that's an explanation in our video. That's
yes,
good. We're going to teach people today.
We should. 3-body scatter spike, and that's what we call a hail signature on radar. That's not what this is. This is actually part of that radar artifact I was just telling you about. Okay, see these reflectivities going the wrong direction. All right, that's what this is. That's not a hail spike. People are gonna say that's a massive hail spike on that radar. That's not what that is. So if we go,
you'll notice that in the next time you look at radar in a light rain event, you'll notice that you'll see pixels of reflectivity traveling west as a storm.
That's right here, east, doing the same thing.
Right? Here. Yep. And so we always see that on radar.
Yeah.
Because of an anomaly that creates that artifact.
You can thank downtown Nashville for that.
If there was a real TDSS there, it would not be moving that same direction. It would travel along with it.
Well, and as I go up, watch what happens when I go to the next radar tilt up. Next radar tilt up, it disappears.
Gone. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's now here. That is a 3-body scatter spike. That right there is a hail spike. And that's at about 32,000 feet. So, yes, that is a hail spike. This down here is not.
Man, y'all, we're nerds.
Well,
just trying to hit people with the info before they ask the question.
I'm very proud of ourselves for knowing what in the world all this is. But those are things we look for. I mean, we may not mention it, but we're looking for that stuff whenever we're on here. So, got a little inside baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the strongest storm of the day for us is clearly this storm down here in Hickman County. For so far, this is by far the strongest. I would expect there to be some pretty decent hail now crossing 840, right there around not too far from the Fairview exit, just north of the Fairview exit, where you just briefly go through Hickman County there, just for I don't know a couple of miles. And this is right there near that, and I would expect those traveling on 840 right now to be
over on the side of the road,
getting pinged up pretty good. Yeah. So anyway, if you know somebody lives out there, or those of you who live west of Fairview or in Fairview or kind of around that area, we would really, I think we would be very interested in reports of what size that hail is, and don't go out and do something stupid in your backyard, picking up hailstones while it's coming down. But let us know what's.
Don't listen to Andrew. Go get me some reports, okay? You do you. No.
You're terrible. You're terrible.
I'm reminded of that Ted Lasso meme where he's on the news show.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Where he's saying, "No, don't listen to her. You go live. Go live. Give me some hailstones."
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Put them in your freezer. Everybody be safe. But Andrew's right. I would love to see what kind of hail is falling in that storm. And Andrew will probably get some questions in the chat about what just showed up, or what was just refreshed, related to a tornado watch.
Yeah, tornado watch was extended for. So we've been under the tornado watch. What time? That was issued earlier this morning, right?
Yeah.
And the tornado watch was extended to, I'm getting the text of that now, to 6 p.m. So it was originally intended to expire at 3. That has now been extended to 6 in response to this boundary that's coming through and sort of launching these storms off. So 3 was a little too soon for that tornado watch to expire. Again, a watch means that conditions are favorable for the formation of tornadoes. It doesn't mean that those ingredients have created a tornado. They mean that conditions are favorable for a tornado to form. And that is poor Elin. Elin's over here trying to write a new blog. Yeah, get us another blog. And we've had a flood advisory. We've had an extended tornado watch now. Elin's over here just
poor intern.
You can't post the thing.
Look, if anybody can do it, he can.
He can, man. He's over there. If
we all get hit by lightning and Elin comes on the stream, y'all are good.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I've told y'all this before on the stream, but Elin used to sit as a kid here. Elin used to sit right next to me. He would come over, and his mom would bring him back early in the day, and bring him over to my house. He'd sit right here and help me during the streams, and I loved that so much. And I'm glad he gets to join us and write our blogs.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Oh man, we had a blast.
He used to
I knew whenever
Weather Association meetings when he was like 12 years old and 100 pounds. And now I don't want to fight him because I would lose. Yeah, he has our Twitter password and he's 20 years old?
We don't just hand that password out.
Yeah, no, we don't. He's a smart kid. Really, really is.
So dime to nickel size hail in a video that just came in to our replies, Andrew, if you want to pull that up. We did video showing what's going on in Fairview.
All right.
Report is dime to nickel.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think this polygon probably needs to be drawn a little bit further south as the storm follows the boundary through. So if you're in Franklin proper, you're already technically warned, but parts of Franklin aren't warned. I think this is going to come flying into right around Highway 96 and maybe even places south. So if you're in like Franklin or Cool Springs and you have a loved vehicle in a garage, you might want to marry those two and get them in there. If you have a car that you don't like that you want to make an insurance claim on, I'd say there's a small chance, but a decent chance that it'll get hail busted. So,
yeah, we are getting. Yeah, the pictures are starting to come in actually pretty fast now from Fairview. I'm seeing that too, Will. The video there, we're getting some hail out there. What did you say, Will? Looks like dimes to nickels. That's kind of what it looks like to me. Dimes to nickels there in that report in Fairview. Bon Aqua, pretty decent. Decent hail there at Bon Aqua. That's back there in Hickman County. We were just talking about them just a moment ago. So that's out there in Bon Aqua. So decent hailer. And it's coming into Williamson County now. So, again, not particularly concerned about the colors here. These bright colors are happening out in an area of no rain. It's very difficult to, determine velocities when you have nothing to really read velocity of. and so the radar making some errors there and guessing velocities. So pay no attention to that. Still not seeing anything too concerning there with velocities as far as rotation goes. However, the hail seems to certainly be the story with this one so far, and pretty widespread hail now from Fairview all the way down Highway 100, all the way out to the interstate and back to the west there. I mean, I'm seeing quite a bit on radar. So this radar product here, since we're doing a little learning, so the purple colors, the darker colors, the purple colors are things in the sky that are the same. So if you have just a bunch of raindrops, they're going to show up purple. If you have a bunch of snow and it's just all snow, it's going to show up purple. If you have, anything that's all the same. The blues, the dark blues, are things that aren't the same at all. There's really not much of the same up there, same shape or anything. So that's sort of how we find debris in a tornado. It's the same thing. So debris is going to be different in every shape, form, or fashion from anything around it. So it shows up very blue. Now, this is not debris, but this is stuff that's very different. Well, with a hailstorm, you see a lot of just garbled mess here. And where if it was all rain, this would all be purple. Right here from Fairview, Cox Run, Chester Estates, Liberty Hill, all the way back into Hickman County. Well, it's not at all the same. So there's a lot of hail in here. So that's really, the radar's determining it's not the same as the rain around it or anything like that. This is a bunch of hail coming through Chester Estates now.
We've got a bunch of reports already of big hailers. I've been retweeting them just in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, I'm seeing them now, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just sending them out. So, yeah, seriously, if you've got a loved car, get your newest car in the garage if you're in Williamson County, just in case. It'll just take you a little bit of time, and you're not going to have time to do it because the lightning's getting closer. But, man, this is a lot of...
There's your 1-inch hail right there.
Yep. Here's your 1-inch hail, quarter-size hail there in Fairview. I believe this is, Fairview. So quarter-size hail falling in Fairview. This warning certainly has verified as far as the hail sizes go. And we're getting a lot of pictures and video. If you want to see those, go look in our replies on Twitter. A lot of those coming in. A lot of them coming in on T-Spotter. Hashtag T-Spotter on Twitter, on X. And that has been... Will, I'm not playing... you're playing these videos, I'm sure, as you go through them. Are you seeing a lot of wind in that storm, or is it basically just hail falling? And okay. So more of a hail than a wind threat, it appears there in the hail
but
core.
Now
so
seeing repeated 1-inch hail.
Yeah,
reports.
Solid 1-inch hail now. Definitely quarter size.
There's still a lot of people in our chat saying that this storm should be tornado warned, aka Nash. I'm confused. That has a hook back echo. Alan saying, "Is this not a textbook hook echo?" So maybe worth touching on that again briefly. Why it's
it's a textbook hook echo, but the hook echo does not mean tornado.
Right.
It's a textbook hook echo. I don't know what else to say, but yeah, it's but the rotation here is not impressive at all, and
near the hook.
Actually seeing some. Check out Hickman severe weather, guys.
Okay.
Seeing some
moly.
Yeah.
No. Okay, that's a nickel.
Yeah. So you might want to collaborate with her, Will, just a second, and see if that's hers or if that was a report she got or something. Just sort of check in on that. We been getting some pretty big hail reports. Now she was where that report may have come from was very near a big core back there. So, but just we might want to follow up on that a little bit. But repeated quarter-size hail reports now, and maybe even a little bit larger there in Fairview.
That might be her foot in that image.
Well, that was what I was going to ask. So, Hail compared to the size of a foot. How subjective would you get with that?
I would not. I would throw that report out.
Yeah. Yeah, like here's another anomaly in the radar. You see this little radar's kind of flagged a little tornado thing down there in Thompson Station. There's nothing down there. It's just a radar anomaly.
Do not believe the algorithm.
Yeah, don't. In fact, I'm gonna turn them off, for now. So, let's see here. Somebody's playing.
There it goes again.
It's Graham again.
Oh, yeah. Is that a new severe thunderstorm warning for us?
Or an
Oh, they've
MD.
upgraded it. They've
Yeah.
upgraded it. That's what it is. So, yeah. So the Weather Service has upgraded this severe thunderstorm warning, saying that it could be the hail could be quite large in it, and severe thunderstorm located over Fairview or 12 miles west of Franklin, moving east at 35 miles an hour. Golf ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts are possible. People and animals outdoors will be injured if you're hit by hail that size. Yes. Expect hail damage to roofs, siding, windows, and vehicles, and potentially expect wind damage as well to roofs, siding, and trees. So Franklin, Ashland City, Kingston Springs, Pegram, Bellevue, Natchez Trace, and Highway 96. So a big hailer coming through, guys, and we are, watching to see how organized this storm gets. Right now it's chugging along pretty well, and it's got some big hail with it. Lot of hail in there. Yep.
And check weather alerts.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Got it. So, it looks like this storm has got a lot of energy to feed off of. It's got a lot of hail that's dropping out of it. Now, if it does what the other storms have done, it might not last too long. So we hope that's the case and it doesn't drop hail all over Williamson County on us. Hopefully it'll start weakening, but we also understand that this isn't a part of the part. This isn't a part. Okay.
Sorry.
This isn't a part. Yeah. Let me.
Like big. I don't know.
Got it.
Yeah, golf
here we
ball sized hail.
Yeah. So this is what we've been getting consistently out of Bon Aqua. This is out there right under that hail core in northeastern Hickman County a little bit ago. And so we've consistently been getting hail this size in the reports. This was very large hail for us. For us here in Middle Tennessee. What's that?
1.75 inch.
Yeah. So that's getting on up there for us here in Middle Tennessee. We've had larger for sure, but this is getting on up there for us here in Middle Tennessee as far as hail sizes go. And we're getting quite a few. This was the one we got just a little bit ago out of Hickman County. Hickman Severe Weather out there. She runs the Hickman Severe Weather account. She does what we do out there in Hickman County. So this was a picture she got or took or something out there around Bon Aqua of some very, very large hail out there. So this is definitely a big hailer for us, and looks like this is going to be coming through a good portion of Williamson County here over the next little bit. All right, so let's talk
ETAs on that, Andrew, if you can.
I can try. The motions on it are a little funky. Let's see here if we've got. Yeah, it looks like it's moving east at
35.
35. Got it. All right. Yeah, let's run this over here. Let's see if we can get.
And then if I could get or David, you could tweet that.
I'm going to put it on Twitter here.
Yeah. So we're getting a bunch of questions now that it's throwing home wrecker hail.
I don't like this. I don't think.
Yeah. And so golf ball size hail, as far as a hazard, right? Damaging to roof, damaging to vehicles, damaging to crops, damaging to your head. If you are outside, it will really hurt. So don't want to be outside while this is going on, which is why we want to give everybody an update on these ETAs.
Yeah, it looks like grassland here about 305, 306. So here in about five. Now we're sort of looking at the hail core here as far as getting ETAs on a certain part of the storm. We're looking at Sullivan Farms about 308. Williamson County Ag Center there around 311, Cool Springs Mall, the Galleria there, McKay's Mill about 313, Brentwood 316, Arrington and Nolensville about 320, 325, and Triune, Cane Ridge closer to 330. So those are some ETAs as we have them right now. Those could change as this goes along, but just stay in touch with the storm. Don't just don't disconnect if it's not storming where you are right now. This storm back to the west means business, and it has quite the hail core with it. Let's go over here and look at that. So this hail core might be a little bit more further to the north than this shows right here, but it looks like from Pinewood Road to Kingfield to the Natchez Trace Bridge, I think 3 inches is a little big. But radar's pinging, nevertheless, is pinging some large hail up in the storm right there along Old Hillsborough Road, Leapers Fork area. I imagine we'll get some reports out of Leapers Fork here shortly I think the hail core is mostly up here around Kingfield, actually, maybe just north of Leapers Fork. So your hail core is going to be, right up there around Kingfield right now. Is where that's going to be. So where you see those purples, let's zoom on down a little bit. Those purples there are where your largest hail is going to be. And that's going to be right there around Natchez Trace and Old Hillsborough Road. Going to be crossing Highway 96 around West Haven and head up toward Fieldstone Farms and move east. Franklin, you guys may get a decent hailstorm out of this. Heads up. If you're outside, you need to get inside in a hurry. Yeah, hail sizes coming up in this thing. Hail sizes are not going down. Hail sizes are going up. All right, this is up at the higher end of what we see hail-wise here in Middle Tennessee. This has the potential for some very large hail. All right, so it's going to be basically from Parker Branch Road. I imagine we'll get some reports out from that way around Parker's Branch, Pewitt Road, Hargrove Road, Natchez Trace Parkway. That's going to be out where the biggest hail is right now. Old Hillsborough Road looks like a new severe thunderstorm warning now for both counties coming out. Yeah, so both of these warnings are expiring here in the next few seconds. They've issued a new one. Let me go back to the Weather Service radar here in Nashville. Yeah, so a new warning now issued.
We've seen hail that big.
Yeah, report. I haven't looked at it. Report's still coming in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Looks like Leapers Fork is probably where it's biggest. No,
yeah,
sorry, I'm wrong about that. It's north of Leapers Fork.
Yeah, just north of Leapers Fork, barely. Right along Old Hillsborough Road. Looks to be where the largest is.
Specifically, if you're on the golf course at West Haven or pickleballing or whatever it is you're doing out there, same for like over by BGA, Grassland.
That
Cottonwood.
outdoor, that YMCA pool thing there.
Yeah, shout out to Riverwood Drive on Cottonwood. Y'all need to get inside.
Yeah, this is a big hailer for us for sure. So one severe thunderstorm warning left, and it's for the Supercell that's over Williamson County right now, pushing large hail through Williamson County, potentially very large hail. And that's going to be right there around Kingfield, just probably north of Leapers Fork, but not by a whole lot, up toward the Natchez Trace and Old Hillsborough Road. That's where it appears the largest hail is right now. And so here's Old Hillsborough Old Hillsboro is right there. This is right here, right underneath that's Waddell Hollow Road. And this over here is going to be Parker Branch. So right there, that purple area there, and even as far over as Old Highway 96. And there's Leapers Creek Road. All right, now we got an updated radar image here. So right coming into West Haven. West Haven could get a big hailstorm here in a minute. And I mean like 30 seconds from now. Boyd Mill Pike. Old Charlotte Pike. This is right over in that kind of Del Rio Pike area. Man, this is coming right into populated areas, guys. This could be a big hailer for Franklin. All right, so potential for a big hail. We've seen pictures out here that have come in of at least quarter-size hail that have come out of this storm. Back in Bon Aqua in Hickman County, we were looking at hail sizes. There were some of the bigger ones we see around here, and very, very large hail. We hope it's not that large anymore, but we could definitely have at least golf ball size hail out there with these storms. So let me see what the Weather Service, what they were saying as far as they say golf ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds are possible with this. So we could have golf balls coming down here in Franklin, especially the west sides of Franklin, really as we speak. And I'm going to pull up some traffic cameras. Let's get those going here. And let's see what's going on out there. All right, this is going to be at 96 in West Haven once it comes up here. Go back to radar in the meantime. I'll pull it back up when it gets here.
Yep, it's already fallen at West Haven.
Yeah.
Merch guy extraordinaire, Ronnie T-shirts, just sent me a text of a video showing, 1-inch hail falling in West Haven.
All right, this is at Downs Boulevard. Hail falling right now at Downs Boulevard. And that's hard to tell what size it is. I'm sorry?
Hail. That's not snow. That's hail.
Did I say snow?
No, I'm just saying it looks like snow. I
was going to say.
Image. Yeah.
So what the heck did I say? Okay. All right. Yeah, that's definitely hail coming. That's a lot of hail coming down there at 96 and Downs Boulevard. So that's right there at that Walgreens and the gas stations over across the street. Very large hail coming down there. It looks like we just lost the camera. See if we can get it back there.
That's not surprising. I mean, the maximum expected hail size algorithm is, I mean, it's not at max, but it's really high for us.
Yeah. Yeah, we're losing traffic cameras.
Yeah, not surprising. Well, it's also a very electrical storm, so.
Yeah.
But this hail core right now is over the Williamson County Soccer Association, Jim Warren Park, and it's going to go smack right into downtown Franklin. It'll be up all the way up to Franklin High School. Pretty much if you live kind of inside the Mack Hatcher Loop, over by Liberty Elementary School, the 5 Points area, and in Franklin, not in Nashville. If you're over by Centennial High School, over by the Williamson Medical Center, over at 65 and Highway 96, if you're in McKay's Mill, you're almost out of time. I think this hailer, if it holds together, and by all accounts it probably will, can get into McKay's Mill. It can get into Cedarmont across I-65. It can get into Trinity Park. over there. Go through like the Nissan headquarters building over by the movie theater. These are hailstones and potential for 60-mile-an-hour winds that we're concerned about with this. I don't see any evidence of of tornado or rotation or anything like that, but this is an honest to God severe hailstorm with reflectivities at the lowest levels, almost 70 dBZs, which is it's a very big storm for us.
Yeah.
Usually it's rare to get over 70. So yeah.
Still seeing hail bouncing on the asphalt there and the concrete right there at Downs Boulevard. They're still getting pelted. I'm seeing big old splashes there on the water. So I would expect at least quarter size hail down in there. I'm seeing some pretty good ones land. I can even on this camera up on top of the mast, I can see the individual hailstones down on the concrete there on the asphalt. So it's definitely
nickels at Del Rio Pike in the reports.
Yeah,
so that was a good call out.
Yeah, hail still falling there at Downs Boulevard. Yeah, I'm still seeing them bounce there on the asphalt. So, in fact, it's even looks like it may even be getting a little larger there at Downs Boulevard.
We saw that.
96.
We saw that with Fairview, right? In Fairview, we started as P's to dimes. Then it moved into quarters and larger, right? So this is probably going to get larger as it comes through.
Yeah. Well, those splashes are getting big. I don't know if you can, I'm not sure if you can see that. See if I can zoom in at all on that.
Yeah. See
look at those. See those splashes right there? So that's some decent hail right there.
That's driving through it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
well. I'd be interested to see what kind of photos we get of damage to vehicles after it's safe enough for people to go out and survey.
Yeah, it generally takes quarter size or bigger to start causing issues there. Let's go look right in the middle of downtown Franklin here. Yeah, seeing hail bouncing there on the intersection there, Main Street.
Fire department reporting 3-inch hail, Boyd Mill Pike of Williamson County, causing significant damage to trees, according to Williamson County EM.
Man alive. Well, that's right there around Downs Boulevard.
Yeah. Larger than quarter size hail in a recent report from the Leapers.
Okay. If you're in central Williamson County and if you're in eastern Williamson County, you need to prepare your property for a significant hailstorm. And that is going to be, it's probably going to be one of the larger hailstorms you've had at your house in a while. And so let's go back to radar here and look at that. You see the purples here stretched out. It's going to hail for a while, guys, all the way from Leapers Fork back through Jim Warren Park. Somebody's echoing real bad. Could y'all, if you're not talking, could you mute? That'd be great. From West Haven, Franklin Green, Jim Warren Park, downtown Franklin, Williamson Medical Center, all through there. This is a stretch of hail. And so some of y'all are going to have a hail for a while coming down. And it could be of significant size. All right, so let's look and see where this is going. If you extrapolate this out, it looks like this thing's trying even to turn right and sink south a little bit. So even as far south as Sullivan Farms, the Williamson County Ag Center, Page High School, maybe. But definitely like McKay's Mill, Highway 96, all the way east of I-65. Nolensville, it might sink south of you. Hope it does. But Nolensville may be too far north for the largest hail. But down in Triune, heads up down there around Triune, Arrington, right there where Wilson Pike comes into Highway 96 there. all those new neighborhoods down there on East 96 as you go out east of Franklin. Heads up down there. You guys may be getting a significant hailstorm here over the next 10, 15 minutes as this comes through here over the next little bit. So let's go back to the downtown Franklin camera if we can, if we still got it. See if it comes in. Let's go to Franklin Road and Liberty Pike. Yeah, so it looks like smaller hail coming down there. But they're getting beat up pretty good. Yeah, David's right. It kind of does look like snow. This is not snow. This is ice that hurts. Let me go back. Let's see. Let me look at radar. I'll try to get us a camera here of the best view of it. Looks like maybe just south of Franklin and then over toward the hospital. So let's go check that out.
So as this has gotten into populated areas, reports are just coming in hot and heavy, seeing all kinds of reports of hail falling in Leapers Fork, Franklin, in some cases just covering the ground looking like snow. All of them at least the size of Nichols, if not larger.
Hmm. Let's go around the Mac Hatcher loop just a little bit. Might be too far north there at Cool Springs. In fact, I think we are. Let's go down to, this will be like Carruthers. Might be some hail falling there at Carruthers at 96. Let's go over to the interstate. I'm seeing some wind with it. I'm seeing the trees moving around a little bit, so there is a wind component with this. I think it's worth mentioning, and I'm glad to see traffic still moving on the interstate right at the bottom of this picture, but the last thing you want to do on a moving interstate is stop in the middle of the lanes and stop underneath an overpass to try to protect your car. That is asking for a serious problem behind you. Visibilities aren't good, and that is asking for a car or multiple cars to come slamming into the back of you if you stop on the interstate underneath a bridge. So please don't do that. It's not worth it. Don't stop underneath a bridge just to try to, because if you do it, a lot of other people are going to do it, and we're going to have pile up on I-65. So please don't do that. It's you know, you hate to have hail on your car, but you know, let's keep the big picture in mind and make sure that that traffic stays moving and on an interstate and doesn't get all blocked up. I'm trying to look around at some cameras. We've lost some of them. I'm sure there's probably some power outages, something going on down there. But let's go back to radar for a second. Hail sizes look to possibly be coming down some, at least up in the core of the storm. And what that tells me is that the storm may be unloading a lot of hail, or maybe just did. Over there on West Franklin, and over there, near I-65. So it's possible the storm has unloaded a lot of hail, but the core has come down. Just if we go back a little bit, you can see the colors were a lot brighter. We had some whites in there even, which is 3-inch or larger. This is just an algorithm. So we were not getting reports of, I don't think, 3-inch hail. But the radar is estimating that size of the hail in the storm. It's difficult to do, but it just gives us an idea of where the hail cores are. And I'm starting to lose some of those purples, which is great. And if we can get these colors to really diminish, that would be fantastic. So still a supercell storm, definitely a supercell headed through Franklin now, crossing I-65, headed generally for Nolensville. So those of you, especially on the south and southwest sides of Nolensville, could get this hail as well. The thing could tick back up. These things often will cycle, where a supercell will, especially if it has energy available, that supercell will diminish in intensity, drop its hail core, but then it'll get launched back up again, and we could get large hail again. So not to say that couldn't happen again. Perhaps maybe the storm is decreasing in intensity a smidge, but we got to see some other evidence of that before we make that determination. Got some pictures here coming into my cell phone. People sending me pictures, and it looks like I've definitely got pictures here around. This is one around not too far from Jim Warren Park. Some quarters in there. Not seeing much bigger than quarters in that picture. That would be great if around that area.
New warning, Andrew.
New warning as well. Okay, yeah, we'll go back and look at that.
For
it looks like the
hook part.
Yeah, okay, they've dropped it down a little bit, and I think we're getting hail at my house now. So, new warning there for southern Williamson County. This is going to be like for Page High School, College Grove, Williamson County Fairgrounds, Thompson Station, and this is going to be a new severe thunder.
That's a good call if this is right turning.
Yeah. Typically, these hailers will sometimes veer off of their typical paths that you would imagine them going. This one might be sort of sinking south a little bit. So looks like that hail core could escape the original severe thunderstorm warning. And this is what they do. If the strongest part of that storm that they're warning, if it's going to be moving outside of a polygon that they've drawn, they'll draw a new polygon. So that's what they've done here. So the storm looks to be trying to exit that southern extent of the polygon. So they've just drawn another one down to the south, always keeping that storm in the boundaries of a severe thunderstorm warning polygon if it warrants that, and it looks like that's what they are doing here. So new severe thunderstorm warning for down at the Williamson County Fairgrounds, Page High School, looks like Nolensville. Well, you were in the original warning all the way down to Triune. You're in the new warning as well. It sounds a little louder than rain on my roof. And so I imagine that I'm getting iced on as well.
Not the new shed.
Let me tell you something. This new shed that I built will come through this just fine.
Is that your new safe place?
Absolutely not. But let me just say, if that shed gets blown away, I've got a house problem too. So it's that when you get a weather guy that builds a shed, understands a little bit of the forces of nature, we tend to overbuild things. All right, so the hail core now looks to be coming through Burke Hollow, Trinity, Bill Chase Farms, McKay's Mill, Trinity Park, all the way down. Yep. See, this is where co-locating comes in handy. All right. I was going to say this is hail down here around Trinity Road. Looks like hail there, but when you go here, there's no precipitation really down there, so that's not hail. So co-locating is very, very important. McKay's Mill looks to be getting the brunt of it right now. Oxford Glen, between Cedarmont, McKay's Mill, Oxford Glen, right over toward North Chapel Road, and Wilson Pike over toward Trinity. And right around Burke Hollow as well. Burke Hollow Road runs from Wilson Pike up to Clovercroft. Looks like a little bit of hail there as well. Will, have fun with the reports on this one, buddy.
Good, gravy. They're coming in. They're coming in hot and heavy. So thank you everybody for that sending in.
Yeah.
Reports. Make sure you compare them to the size of a coin, and let us know where you are. Also seeing come in a lot of people asking to get cleared. So, Andrew, do you want to take kind of a wider view and talk about who's all clear here?
Yeah. Before we do that, yes, absolutely. Let's do that. But I just turned on the lightning data for this, and David had mentioned this a little bit before. The cloud-to-ground lightning strikes, something that stands out to me here is that there are a ton of cloud-to-ground lightning strikes that are happening outside of the rain. All right, down here around Arrington and 840, they're just getting, like y'all were getting beat up with hail back over here in Franklin. Down here outside of the rain, so like Rutherville, Page High School, Arrington, Arno, Triune, this area down here is getting pummeled with cloud-to-ground lightning strikes all the way down toward College Grove. In southern Williamson County, this thing's tossing lightning way outside of the main rain, okay? So just something to be aware of. And if you happen to be watching from over in Rutherford County where things haven't really picked up yet, understand that this storm is not just within the confines of the rain or the hail. There's a ton of lightning on the south side of it, okay? So just be aware of that. I'm going to turn that lightning off while we talk about clearing some areas from this round. All right, so yeah, really, this is our only storm at the moment that's out here, and it's this one supercell coming through Williamson County now that is producing this hailstorm. Not a lot on the rotation front. The rotation is really not a concern right now. And if we back out, you see we're kind of at the tail end of this line, and there's really nothing behind us right now in Middle Tennessee. So we are expecting more rounds later, but for now, this should be pretty good. So really, everybody back west of West Haven, like from West Haven to South Hall to Keystone to Thompson Station, everybody west of that, once the storm pushes east of you, let the lightning get away a little bit. If you can still hear thunder, you're no good. You need to wait till the lightning gets well east of you. But after this storm moves through, you might be good for a while. Looks like you probably will be. So keep that in mind with your afternoon plans. Just let this thing get out of the way and let this thing get, as we say around here, let it blow through, let it blow over, and then you'll be in better shape. Getting some pretty heavy returns now right around Trinity. So this is right around where Wilson Pike, right there where those overpasses are around Trinity Road. You got that railroad crossing there. You've got the convenience center there around Trinity, and on up around Tullis Road. Very, very heavy returns now, looking at about 70 dBz. It's where the whites show up in the radar. That's definitely hail, 100%. We got hail there in Trinity, and moving east, headed toward Burke Hollow, some pretty good size hail headed that direction, right toward the Burke Hollow area, and especially the south sides of Burke Hollow. But some pretty large hail potentially headed. And if it's not large hail, it's probably a lot of it. All right, so even if it's smaller hail than what we saw in Franklin, which I'm not sure it will be, but even if it's smaller hail, it's going to be a lot of hail right there around Nolensville and just to the south.
Andrew, in NWS chat, there's a photo that you might want to show from Williams County Fire.
Okay.
Looks like hail putting holes in car windows.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, it looks like we had car damage there in Leapers Fork. Heavy damage to vehicles off of Pinewood Road. Went through windshields, it looks like there around Pinewood Road. So, yeah, Leapers Fork got hit especially hard, it looks like. Noisy storm. All right. All right, these warnings expire at 3:45, so another 20 minutes on these. Hopefully they'll be out of I think they'll be out of here in 20 minutes, at least Williamson County.
Is the Renaissance Fair happening this weekend?
I saw signs. That's a good question. I saw signs down that way. I drove down Nolensville Road yesterday and saw a couple of signs. But I don't know if it's right now. But, yeah, that's right out that way. Right out that way. So it looks like the heaviest hail right now looks to be falling around Burke Hollow Road, Skinner Road, Osborne Road. This is right around an area that had some fairly decent wind damage yesterday morning from some of those strong storms that came through. So right there at Skinner Road, Parker Hollow Road, Burke Hollow Road, Molly Hollow Road. These purples right here are probably a good bit of hail. And I'm not too far from there. I'm going to watch outside too. Let's see if I've got anything coming down, but not yet. So once this moves out, and it's about to finish crossing I-65, once this moves out, I think we're going to be good for a while. And then we probably will have David, I think we're still expecting that line of storms later. I don't think that's changed.
Yeah, we are. I was just looking at model data from the HRRR model, and it shows it is initializing better, meaning if you put good information into a solution, it'll spit good information out. If you put bad information in, you get bad information out. It's starting to put better information in to the model itself. And what it's spitting out is a line that arrives around midnight. By midnight, it's draped around over near Jolton, and then by 1 a.m., it's draped across I-40 in Nashville, and then between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. comes through the rest of Williamson County. And according to the latest forecast sounding, when that line comes in, there's a pretty sharp inversion at the surface, which would be good for us in terms of tornado concerns. It's the reason why our tornado concerns are relatively low compared to the hail and damaging winds. The Capes are around 1,200 with low LCLs, which is significant, but there still could be a tornado concern because the winds are going to be turning just a little bit more than I would like them to. So Elon's going to have the details on the blog on that soon as this line gets out of here. But more importantly, you need to have a way to wake up in case there's a warning tonight. And if you're planning on camping or being out on the water tonight, please don't. I think that these storms are going to be rough enough, even with our atmosphere getting worked over and some of our fuel being used, that the risk is probably not worth the reward, or the squeeze isn't worth the juice. That's one of Andrew's good phrases.
The juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Whatever it is, juice is whatever it is. Y'all know what I mean. I'm tired. So, by the way, I do have a can of Red Bull that I bought at Home Depot yesterday, so I'll be good tonight. But looking at between, I would say, as a rough estimate, somewhere between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. with the most likely time into Nashville right around midnight, and then maybe a half hour after that for Williamson County.
Cool. There's some new updated probabilities coming out from the Storm Prediction Center that are basically the severe weather event that David's talking about for tonight coming into a little bit better focus for the forecasters. And at least the forecasters at the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma have increased those probabilities on some of our odds of seeing severe weather within 25 miles of us. We'll be updating that those are coming in right now. And so we'll be updating that over on the blog. Elon will be watching those as they come in. I think the blog hasn't come out yet, has it?
No, I asked him not to post it until
okay.
was out. Yeah.
So we'll wait till the new probabilities come in. We'll have those available here in a little bit. Looks like the heaviest reflectivities now of the storm. I mean, this is a classic supercell, guys. So your hail is going to be up here in the main body of the supercell. If there were rotation, it would be down in the Arno 31A, 41A split area. There's not. We're not seeing any rotation there that's concerning.
It's okay.
So, but there is some, maybe some decent winds with the thing, but little gusty at my house. But here comes the hail at my house. A little bit. It's not a ton yet, but
looks like Hillman Estates is probably getting the worst of it. Triune just had the worst of it. It should be out. If you're along I-65, the hail is over, but the lightning, you're still within range. So give it a little bit of time before you go back out. And Andrew, I was just looking at the satellite. It's sunny, y'all, back behind this hailstorm. So we're going to get another 4 hours plus of sunshine here today. And it looks like the evening will be pleasant until late tonight when the big line drops in from Kentucky. So yeah, if you're east of 65, you're getting the storm. But if you're west of 65 or in Nashville, another 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so, you're going to get sunshine out there. I'd rather not have that sunshine because it will help the atmosphere to recover just a little bit and is going to justify that higher risk. So this is something that we'll read about in the blog with Elon here later today. If you've got pups like this one in my lap right here who are afraid of the lightning, and they need medication or their little puppy blanket, now would be a good time, or tonight would be a good time to have that for them. But this one right here, man, he's just inconsolable. So he just needs to be loved. So, but yeah, sun's coming out. Sun is coming out.
Yeah, we still got, looks like, newest radar scan, this hail is moving on out. So there's McCandless Road there. This is Spantown Road, getting out there toward the Renaissance Festival area, actually. And that's exactly where this is. So we still have, at my house, I'm a little bit further north than this, and we still have occasional decent hailstones falling out of the sky. They're not, like, there's not a lot of them, but every once in a while I see a big one kind of bounce off the roof. So hopefully that stops soon. And I think it will. All right, looks like the heaviest hail now crossing over into Rutherford County. Let's zoom out. Let me pull up some. So here's our wide radar view, way back. So this is, big storms over eastern Oklahoma and Missouri. I need a break from the rain there in southeastern Missouri, northern middle Tennessee, and up in southern Kentucky. And we have that flood advisory for us as well. That's a flash flood warning up there on the Highland Rim. And we need a break from the rain. We need this break. We don't need a break in the clouds, but we need a break in the rain for a little bit. This is a lot of water. Well, we've had almost an inch here at my house since this storm got here. So it's coming down pretty hard. Let's go back to our local radar.
Yeah, it looks like this core is almost completely out. Like you said, Spantown Road on the southern end and Abula Church Road on the northern end looks like where it'll be. The hail core is basically over that Almoville Road exit on 840 in Rutherford County. It's moving out kind of towards Murfreesboro. So if you're a Murfreesboro severe weather follower or Rutherford County severe weather follower, they'll pick it up from here. But yep, from that latest scan, as you can tell, it's winding down for us. Those polygons will get trimmed pretty soon once the storm is completely out of Williamson County, which it's not yet. It will be probably 10-5 minutes. So
it looks. You were talking about how it was, how these things have the potential to cycle. Let's go back and look just a little bit at the hail sizes, or the radar, the radar interpreted hail sizes here. So you see those purples show up, and then you see the purples go away, and then you see them starting to come back now as it goes into Rutherford County. So these storms tend to cycle. And looks like that's what's going on there. So eastern Williamson County caught a little bit of a break there, I think, with the hail sizes. If we look at our reports, I don't think we're going to have any of these big, larger than golf ball size hail over east of 65 too many, maybe a few, but not as many as we had over there west. I'm going to go ahead and look at this is an update from the National Weather Service. The late night round of severe thunderstorms, we were talking about the threat of storms or severe weather going up. It looks like the wind potential in Middle Tennessee for the threat of damaging straight line winds has increased on this latest outlook. We are now within an area, at least in parts of Middle Tennessee, it comes right up to Nashville, of a 45% chance of seeing severe weather winds within 25 miles of you. So a pretty high, 45% chance of seeing damaging straight line winds within 25 miles of you. Some of those gusts could be significant, over 80 miles per hour possible. They did increase the tornado probabilities for the late night round also. In other words, the messaging hasn't changed. We're still expecting a significant line of storms moving through Middle Tennessee during the overnight hours. Winds are the primary threat. Can't rule out tornadoes with the line, and especially any isolated storms that develop ahead of the line. Hail is also a threat, some significant possible, with supercells ahead of the line, as we've been seeing in Williamson County recently. So that's an update from the Weather Service. And another update from the Weather Service is we now have a flash flood warning for Williamson County that has come out, and that will be for this big dump of rain we had just in the past little bit over Williamson County. So Williamson County now in a flash flood warning. That'll show up in a green polygon here on radar here shortly. And so, again, we remind you, turn around, don't drown. If you come upon an area that is flooded, please don't drive through it. It's not worth it. Go a different way. This is for northeastern Williamson County in Middle Tennessee. Doppler radar indicated, there's your green polygon there. Doppler radar indicated severe thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warned area. Between half an inch and an inch and a half of rain has fallen. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected shortly. So this would be for flash flooding of small creeks and streams, urban areas, highways, streets, underpasses, as well as other poor drainage, low-lying areas. All right, so you see your polygon here. I'm going to turn the severes off a second. You can see this green polygon. That's where this flash flood warning is. Franklin, Brentwood, Cool Springs, McKay's Mill, Nolensville. That is where the severe thunderstorm, the flash flood warning is right now. And that is in effect until 6:45. Okay, guys. Well, that's that. Our focus now turns toward looking through your reports, sort of catching up on that. Will's been over there doing that, staying on top of those, letting the Weather Service know what's up. Also, we are going to be looking through the forecast that is evolving as we go through the afternoon. We mentioned that update just a second ago. So the forecast, we're going to be looking at that, sort of breaking that down into what that means for us tonight, and then we sort of prepare for that. So you can go ahead and be preparing for tonight's round of storms by getting whatever it is together that you need to get together in your safe place. You need to have your shoes and a helmet and other things like that. This is May in Middle Tennessee, and we have had a pretty active severe weather season so far. And let's do it again. Let's have those things in our safe places, helmets, shoes, all that kind of stuff. But one of the most important things is have a way to get warnings. It doesn't do any good to have that stuff in your house if you don't have a way to get warnings and to be woken up potentially by a warning. So have the apps, have Stormwatch Plus, other apps, whatever you use, NOAA Weather Radio, have those things available to wake you up and get you warned so that you can protect yourself and your property tonight.
Stormwatch Plus works, and it's loud, and it will wake you up.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to jump off of here, and we'll see y'all potentially later tonight, and we're going to go eat our Wheaties and our Red Bulls and drink the Red Bulls and all that stuff. So we'll talk to you later on. Thanks for being here with us, and you guys stay safe out there today. Could be a little bumpy. Thanks.